We're not going to have private individuals out there. I'm going to hire the coaching staff. There's going to be a certain method of how we practice and how we prepare. I don't anticipate the crowd having to count down the 30-second clock.
I don't want to necessarily say that there's already drama for the Denver Broncos, because for all you know, this could be a welcome change that was absolutely necessary if you wanted this team to succeed. But Sean Payton had his introductory press conference yesterday, and there were some things that we need to discuss. Before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. We are on the grind to 700,000 subscribers, and now that we get all that out of the way, break! Usually when this happens, we all make bank. PrizePicks is hooking us up for the Super Bowl with a free square from Patrick Mahomes, which means Mahomes just needs one passing yard in order for his square to convert. So all you have to do if you want to join is go to the link in the description down below, download PrizePicks, and use my promo code Mikerophone so they can match up to $100 of your deposit. And once you're done with that, make these picks. Obviously, you should go with the Patrick Mahomes 0.5 passing yards and click more. Once you're done with that, one of my sleepers is going to be Kenneth Gainwell, who has been a monster throughout the playoffs for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he just needs to get higher than 21.5 rush yards. So we're going to click more there. And if Kenneth Gainwell gets more than 21.5 rush yards, you could 3x your money. Now, if you feel really good about this, you could also add Travis Kelce scoring 1 touchdown. And if both of these hit, you 5x your money. I play PrizePicks each and every day, and I post my picks to my story on Instagram. So make sure you're following me there if you want to see my picks on a daily basis. And thank you, PrizePicks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? The Denver Broncos had absolutely no choice but to clean house, at least in their coaching department. They did this by letting go of Nathaniel Hackett while the season was still going on. And the reason being that they didn't really have much of a choice. It was between Nathaniel Hackett and Russell Wilson. If you release Russell Wilson, you're going to take on a significant cap hit because you decided to extend him before the season even began. That left the Denver Broncos with one choice and one choice only: doing whatever it takes to try to resurrect Russell Wilson. He was a pretty damn good player before coming to Denver, and he shouldn't have fallen off that badly. Let's be honest, you could have a little bit of regression, but the regression that Russell Wilson had, a little peculiar. When you consider the fact that he had some pretty good weapons on offense. Yes, Tim Patrick was injured, but still, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Cortland Sutton, very solid players. Yeah, Javonte Williams was injured, Melvin Gordon was let go in the middle of the season, and he also had a really good defense. Honestly, you didn't need to do that much to be successful on the Denver Broncos offense last year, considering how underratedly good their defense was. The reason I'm saying underrated because, well, no one really talked about them because they were losing so much. As a matter of fact, maybe the Denver Broncos defensive coordinator, Ejiro Evero, was feeling some type of way about his defenses not being appreciated as much as they should because the Carolina Panthers essentially poached Ejiro Evero in order for Ejiro to become the team's brand new defensive coordinator. Whenever you're hopping from one team to another for the same position, that's going to raise some eyebrows because Ejiro Evero was potentially a head coaching candidate, and I expect him to be one for the foreseeable future. But for Russell Wilson, the way that the Denver Broncos decided to save Russell Wilson was by going out and getting the most desired head coach of the offseason. Some people might even say that Jim Harbaugh may have been the most desired head coach. Some people might say that, hey, Mike, this man was the Denver Broncos' third choice. He wasn't necessarily their first choice. Regardless, they went all in on making sure that they could get themselves a good head coach to put Russell Wilson in the best position to succeed. And that coach was Sean Payton. They gave up a first-round pick, which is the only first-round pick that they got, which they pretty much received from the Bradley Chubb trade, which they initially made so they could recoup some assets from the fact that they gave up so much in the Russell Wilson trade. And they swapped a 2024 second-round pick for a 2024 third-round pick in order to get Sean Payton. That's not all they did. Sean Payton's contract is rumored to be one of the most lucrative contracts I think I've ever seen any head coach get ever. Sean Payton is rumored to be receiving in the ballpark of $18 million a year for 5 years. Yeah, I would get off my couch for that type of money for sure. So now the Denver Broncos appear to have the highest paid head coach and the second highest paid player in the entire NFL. Now, second highest paid player is probably going to change once Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and Jalen Hurts all receive their contract extensions this summer, which is probably why the Denver Broncos rushed to pay Russell Wilson last offseason anyway, which is kind of looking like a horrible move now, but I digress. Sean Payton made some headlines in his press conference by really laying down the law in regards to what the team's culture is going to be, and this is why I believe there may be some drama in the future. Now, I could be wrong about this. I'm making this video very prematurely. Sean Payton and Russell Wilson haven't had a single practice together, but I'm basing this off of Russell Wilson's history with a coach that wanted to make sure that Russell Wilson played winning football and consistently put Russell Wilson in situations to succeed. Pete Carroll, who was trying to force Russell Wilson to play in a run-first offense in order to maximize the potential of the Seahawks defense, and whenever teams were really overly committing to the run, well, Russell Wilson could hit him with one of his signature play-action passes or play-action deep bombs, and therefore he would look really good and potentially even be an MVP candidate. Russell Wilson didn't want that. Russell Wilson wanted to cook. He wanted to throw the ball as much as possible. He was chasing Breeze. He was chasing Manning. He was chasing Brady. Ultimately, that's the main reason he got traded to Denver to begin with. If you guys forget, Russell Wilson wanted to cook. He wanted to throw the ball as much as he could, and he was trying to compete for MVPs, not Super Bowls. Remember that. Very next year, which was last year, Russell Wilson got what he wanted. He got a very cool, chill, laid-back head coach in Nathaniel Hackett, who was originally brought in to lure over Aaron Rodgers, and I'm still convinced of that because the New York Jets hired him as an offensive coordinator, potentially to lure over Aaron Rodgers. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, we'll see. And Nathaniel Hackett was known for being a cool, down-to-earth guy that loved football and wanted to put his players in a position to succeed. That didn't work. Russell Wilson got to drop back as many times as he wished and throw to a very deep wide receiver core. This time, he didn't have the handcuffs that Pete Carroll placed upon him, and that didn't work. The Denver Broncos looked horrible this past season, and Russell Wilson was ruled as a player that was just washed. It looks like the Denver Broncos are now pivoting here. Instead of getting a lax head coach that really wants their players to do whatever makes them feel comfortable and play to their strengths, they're getting Sean Payton, who's from the Bill Parcells coaching tree, which a lot of us may forget because, well, Sean Payton wasn't really linked to any head coaching gig. He was in New Orleans for all this time. He's getting a strict disciplinarian as a head coach, and we got the first glimpse of that the other day. So for those of you guys that didn't know, towards the end of the season, people were really hating on Russell Wilson because he reportedly had his own office with the Denver Broncos. You guys remember this report? Because I sure as hell do. Broncos players are reportedly furious that Russell Wilson has his own office and private parking spaces. Russell Wilson's first season as a Denver Bronco couldn't have gone any worse. It began with a loss to his former team and replacement Geno Smith in primetime and has only spiraled down from there. On Monday, Broncos first-year head coach Nathaniel Hackett took the fall, but much of the blame belongs to Wilson, who was 29th out of 33 qualified players in total QBR while playing out the first year of a 5-year, $243 million mega deal. That's the tip of the iceberg. As the success on the field has dried up, Wilson's good guy veneer has been peeled back. Reports that Wilson has yet to learn the offense and was confusing Broncos players by using old audibles from Seattle soon surfaced. Current teammates were seen screaming at him on the sidelines. Former players such as Marshawn Lynch and Richard Sherman revealed how unapproachable he was as a teammate, making himself only available via his manager, while Pete Carroll publicly criticized Wilson's refusal to wear a wristband while in Seattle. Now, according to Shannon Sharp, Russell Wilson's attitude and the fact that he had his own private office and parking spaces was the main issue. And the response that he was getting from football Twitter for the most part is disbelief. Andrew Whitworth didn't believe it. Booger McFarland didn't believe it. And I guess this is sort of true. I mean, yeah, he had some teammates coming to his defense back then, but I'm assuming this is true because it seems like Sean Payton is pulling up to put a stop to all of this. I don't know how this question came up, but it became the soundbite of the entire press conference. When Sean Payton was asked if Russell Wilson could continue to have a personal quarterback coach, Jake Heaps, as well as other support personnel to work with the quarterback in the building, Sean Payton was clear with where he stood, saying this.
On the 30-second
Coach, Russell Wilson had a personal coach, Jake Heaps, in the building with access who wasn't on the staff.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that.
How do you feel about players having their own people off the staff in the building access to the players?
Yeah, that's foreign to me. That's not going to take place here. I mean, I'm unfamiliar with it, but our staff will be here, our players will be here, and that'll be it.
Sean Payton said,
None of this is happening. None of Russell Wilson's people are going to be here.
he's going to work with our coaches that I'm going to choose. He's going to play with the team, and we're not going to have any more Russell Wilson people over here. To be honest, the Broncos appear to have a very solid legacy quarterback coach in Clint Kubiak, which, you guys remember, Gary Kubiak was a Super Bowl winning head coach of theirs during the Peyton Manning era. Sean Payton really laid the law down here because he also said, you have law and order, as Bill Parcells would say. You come in with, this is how we're going to teach. This is how we're going to meet. This is how we're going to practice. Every year in our league, there have been great plans with noble thoughts and a lot of enthusiasm that don't have success. Discipline, toughness, and football makeup is going to be real important for whoever is a Denver Bronco. There's an element of discipline. There's an element of toughness, and look, it's not for everyone. I know what this looks like, and I know what it doesn't look like, and sometimes we're not asking. Sometimes it's non-negotiable. Honestly, this is a complete 180 from the Nathaniel Hackett era, and I suppose in that sense, Denver Broncos fans should be happy. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Russell Wilson takes this. Obviously, he's going to put on a good guy attitude and a good guy face that's willing to do the work in front of the cameras because that's what he's always done. I want to see what happens behind closed doors. I want to see if this gets some results because at the end of the day, Denver Broncos are really heavily invested in the Russell Wilson era. Spending this much money, $18 million on Sean Payton, paying the amount that they paid to Russell Wilson originally. They're really trying to put out a contender there. Originally, this was a team that was a quarterback away from greatness, and you thought that they got that quarterback when they were able to trade for Russell Wilson. And hopefully this move, this decision, could save Russell Wilson. If you're a Broncos fan, let me know what you guys think about all this. What do you think about Sean Payton's press conference? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.